Now for the next few lessons, we're going to get back to really guitar playing techniques instead of song forms and sort of general ideas about rhythm and whatnot. And one of the techniques I want to focus on is one that I've introduced but haven't really spent much time analyzing, and that's a hybrid technique. As I explained back quite a while ago, there are three basic ways, maybe four if you want to count the thumb pick, that blues guitar players play, and usually players settle on one or the other, and that's just their main style. So that would be the flat pick, right? That's the most common by far. In old school down home blues, you get the bare fingers, so thumb and finger especially. Some players do use the thumb pick, and it allows you to play those big strong bass notes, and then they can grip the thumb pick and use it more like a flat pick. I never really used that style myself, but that's a good sort of a compromise between bare thumb and fingers and flat pick. But the version that I use, which is similar to that, it has the same effect as a thumb pick and fingers, is called hybrid. And hybrid is using the flat pick. I'm holding it normally between my thumb and finger, but I'm using my other fingers, primarily my middle finger and my third finger, as extra picks. And that allows me to do certain specialized techniques, but it's also just a general way of phrasing. And why do we do it? It's just because you like the sound. I explained, I think, a while back about a lick that I heard this guy play, and I just couldn't figure out how he was playing it. And the only solution I could come up with was that he must be using, right? It must be using something other than just that pick, you know? Well, of course, it's pull-offs, right? And so that allows you to play multiple notes on one string. He wasn't picking those notes. But to cross from string to string, I figured out that he must be playing pick, finger, pick, and using that finger to kind of give him a little extra something that gave him time to get the pick back and forth. He probably wasn't doing it like that at all, but that was my invention that allowed me to kind of solve the problem of how to play that lick. And then as I went along and I was listening to other players that I liked, for example, Albert King, whose name has come up before, I realized as I watched them play and learned about them that in some cases, Albert King, Albert Collins in particular, they didn't use the pick, right? Now, I wasn't about to give up the pick. Some guys do that. Jeff Beck famously gave up the pick at a certain point and just rebuilt his technique around bare fingers, and he sounds fantastic, you know. But for most of us, that's a big step, and I wasn't ready to take that step. So I thought, well, how can I get some of that sound without putting the pick down all the time, or sticking it in my mouth like that? So I figured out, and I'm not the only one, obviously, that I could hold the pick and use these fingers, and that meant when I wanted to pop a note like Albert King, and I could use my bare finger to get up under there, snap it, and then at the same time I could use the pick to play other phrases that I just felt more confident using the pick. It gave me more facility to get around. So that, in a nutshell, is hybrid technique. It's using the finger sometimes and the pick sometimes. Now, I've been asked over the years by students, that I play with, they say, well, how do you develop that technique? And my answer has always been, well, I don't know, you just start using your fingers and work them in there. Take licks that you already know and just kind of substitute the finger for the pick. And over time, you'll get, more comfortable. That's true, that's true. But I'd like to give you an exercise or two that you can use that'll help kind of speed up the process. So this is sort of a hybrid picking exercise. I'll show it to you and then break it down for you. Right? Simple enough, right? Now, what I'm doing there, playing the 4th string, 7th fret, with the pick, and I'm going to use my middle finger to play the notes on the 3rd string. So I play pick, finger, pick, roll my finger over, pick, finger, 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 finger. So the pick is always playing the 4th string and my finger is covering all of the other strings. Now that's kind of a phrase in its own right. It's a melodic idea, but it focuses on that specialized technique of hybrid picking. Play it together, okay? And we'll do it with this kind of ba-da, ba-do, ba-da, ba-do, about that tempo right here. 3, 4. Now I'm just going to circle around those notes for a second. And now I'm going to go up. Flat 5 here, the 5th, the 7th. Now I'm going to go all the way up. And go up again. Okay. All the notes I'm playing are in the blues pentatonic kind of sound. Now, when I got to the high string, instead of using my middle finger, I used my third finger. Why? Because it's more convenient. It's already there, you know what I mean? So middle finger, third finger. If I kept going, use it again. Third finger. So going all the way through the scale, reaching up as high as I can go. Let's try that out. 3, 4. All the way up. That, in a nutshell, is what hybrid technique is all about. It's just that combination of pick and fingers. Now, I can pluck those notes simultaneously instead of separating them like that. So, now that's where hybrid technique is actually required, because to get those notes on different strings when they're not adjacent to each other, you have to be able to pluck the notes individually, as opposed to trying to get across the strings instantly, right? Now we've already done that when we did the Robert Johnson turnaround, remember that? Right? That required hybrid picking. Didn't really talk about it, but that's what that was, is hybrid picking. Pick, finger on the high note, and that allows you to separate the notes and still keep them nice and clear. So there's sort of an exercisey way to do it. We've also used hybrid picking pretty consistently in the riff chords. First introduced the riff chords, and I said, well, here's number 1, here's number 2, and here's number 3. 2-note chords. And then we expanded that to 3-note chords. Now there I'm using hybrid picking to demonstrate, right? I'm using pick, finger, finger. And there I'm using the pick and the fingers as a group, where I separate. That's pick, fingers, pick, fingers. Now using the fingers together like that allows you to hit the notes simultaneously, which has a little bit more of a pianistic kind of a sound, or an organ, you know, where they're hitting the keys together. So it's a different effect. It sort of softens the notes a little bit because the skin is a little softer than the pick. So its sound, its feel, you know, its texture, those are all things that help guide your decisions there. Here's an exercise that I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. We're going to talk about this style of picking, but tremolo picking. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Now that's a specialized technique, obviously, but kind of a cool sound. So I'm going, playing triplets, and then now because I'm using hybrid picking, I don't have to interrupt the motion of the pick. Incidentally, I started that with an upstroke. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Sorry. Right? Now, that style of playing, the tremolo picking, that's what that's called, is a technique we're going to look at later. It's a pretty handy technique to have. Really makes the notes intense. But there's an example just applied to the hybrid picking world. So I use hybrid picking as my standard go-to basic technique. That's just how I play because that's how I like it. And I developed it over the years. I literally don't think about it at all. I really think about the sound and I say which would sound better, with the pick or with the fingers, as opposed to the technique of having to choose, okay, which finger will I use? That's automatic at this point. But these exercises will help you access the technique and you can figure out how to apply it. I'll give you an example. Let's play over a little rhythm section jam here, 12-bar shuffle in B flat. We love the flat keys. We got F, we got B flat. We're gonna be doing more of that as time goes on. So see how it sounds using hybrid technique. I'll play some of these licks maybe in the context of this progression, see how it sounds. Okay, here we go. Old school there. I was using some of those really old style phrases. I took the riff chord idea just a little bit further and bent the notes together. Sounds kind of cool, you know. Using a different interval in there, we're going to explore these notes and this sound in much more detail. That's a real classic combination there. B flat, 9th fret, 8th fret. Creates a very dissonant interval, the devil's interval. And certain players use that all the time. So the double stops, as they're called, when you play two notes together, that's a double stop. And using hybrid picking allows you to access all that. So I use the same phrases that are kind of laid out in exercise form and incorporated them into the solo. And they just create kind of a cool flavor. So mess around with that and see what you can come up with as you develop your technique. If you have questions about how to apply hybrid picking or how to develop it further than what I've showed you right here, by all means get in touch with me and we'll talk.